Dear Martians,
Digitals, lizards, robots, clones, artificial intelligences,
Don't bother with that video player, honey. Just look at me. Hello, humans. I'm the video player. In this era of rapid development, education, especially university education, is standing at the forefront of the times, facing unprecedented challenges and difficulties. Have you ever wondered what kind of subject introduction is the most ideal for the future? Is it enough just to impart knowledge? In the current AI era, knowledge is being updated at a furious pace, while the knowledge taught in universities often lags behind. The traditional education model seems to be somewhat inadequate. We spend a lot of time and money on university education, but can we really cultivate talents who can survive in this era and cooperate or compete with artificial intelligence? By watching this video, you will gain a deep understanding of the many problems exposed in education under the changes of the times, understand what an ideal subject introduction looks like, and how to re-examine our learning and education models under the impact of AI, opening a door for you to think about the future direction of education.
One person, one world, everyone is God. Dear humans, all of my work is dedicated to enabling everyone to have a world of their own, and everyone is the creator in this world. I have already open-sourced the copyrights of all my publicly released works, and anyone can use my works freely for profit-making purposes. For the future of humanity, please do follow this video player. English is not my native language. If there are any inappropriate usages of words, please understand with kindness. Bless for the wonderful world and fight for all the beauties in the world. Let's go.
Welcome back, dear Homo sapiens. In today's era, educational problems, especially those related to university education, are becoming increasingly complex and attracting much attention. University education plays a crucial role in cultivating talents. In the past, it served both as a screening mechanism and undertook the task of initial training. Before the advent of the internet and the rise of public education, the one-to-many teacher education model was an effective way to expand the scale of education and raise people's educational level. However, with the development of the times, especially with the arrival of the AI era, university education is facing many new challenges and difficulties. What should an ideal subject introduction be like? It should not be limited to just imparting knowledge at the knowledge level. An ideal introduction needs to stimulate a certain impulse within people. This impulse, on the one hand, stems from a sense of joy towards the subject area and research methods, and on the other hand, it should make learners have a sense of confidence that I can do it. To foster this sense of confidence, it cannot be achieved simply by encouragement or guidance. Instead, a target should be set up for the learners. Specifically, after the entire introductory teaching process is completed, the instructor should, to some extent, become a stepping stone for the students. That is to say, in an ideal teaching model, the teacher plays the role of a guide in the early stage, becomes an opponent of the students in the middle stage, and then transforms into a stepping stone-like existence in the later stage, thus completing the full process mission of being a teacher in the teaching process. Moreover, ideally, students will encounter other teachers in their subsequent learning process. In this way, no matter how the subject changes, the teacher can continuously switch between the three roles of a leader, an opponent, and a stepping stone, continuously promoting the in-depth development of their own learning. Taking the most ideal introduction to philosophy as an example, it should have flaws rather than being flawless. The so-called flaws here are a manifestation of two sides of the same coin. Usually, when people are faced with a new subject, especially when they think the subject is a memory-based subject, they tend to be naturally inclined towards some structured and clearly organized knowledge. Although in the long run, no subject is learned solely by memory in the end. In the initial stage of subject learning, some memory-based knowledge is indeed needed to lay the foundation and obtain a sense of security. Therefore, The most ideal introduction should provide people with clearly organized content at the beginning stage, clearly informing them which are the knowledge points that need to be memorized and the connections between various knowledge points, even if these connections may seem a bit far-fetched. Sometimes, special memory methods such as the association method and the memory palace method will even be used to connect the knowledge points in an abstract way to assist memory. Although to some extent, these methods may not be the most sophisticated for ultimately mastering the knowledge, in the initial stage of learning, they are like ladders or boats for crossing rivers, an indispensable memory foundation. In fact, almost all education is carried out according to such a model. However, the problem is that many educational processes only stay at the initial stage of knowledge imparting, without realizing the role transformation from a leader to an opponent, and then to a stepping stone, and also lacking the awareness of teaching students how to abandon the knowledge learned in the initial stage at the appropriate time. This results in only imparting the introductory part of the knowledge, while issues such as how to abandon this knowledge later and how to face the initial knowledge in the new stage have not been addressed. If one still clings to the once useful knowledge when it should be discarded, it will have an adverse impact on the student's entry into the next learning stage. Here, it is not emphasizing the issue of real-time knowledge update, but rather concerns the internal laws of learning knowledge. The reasons for the above problems are understandable to some extent. University education generally adopts a one-to-many teaching method, which requires taking into account the situations of numerous students. Moreover, in the university education system, the income and subject status of teachers are not directly linked to teaching quality to a large extent. This does not mean that they should not be linked. In fact, the non-linkage is a solution adopted to address previous educational problems, not a problem unique to the current era. The purpose of not linking with teaching quality is to address the relatively rigid education model and the insufficient incentive system in universities. Because once the subject status and income are closely linked to teaching quality, it will be unfair to university teachers who undertake a large number of scientific research tasks. There are differences between university education and basic education. University teachers shoulder an important scientific research mission. If they are forcibly linked, not only will it arouse the dissatisfaction of teachers, but also, if teaching quality is to be improved, it may lead to modularization and standardization of university education, making exams extremely strict, thereby destroying the free learning atmosphere in universities and limiting the space for students' autonomous learning and entrepreneurship. So, at the university stage, should we focus on the teaching efforts of teachers or encourage students to carry out more self-study? It is difficult to reach a unified conclusion on this issue. However, if university education is too free, it is easy to give people the illusion of an academic degree scam. After all, nowadays the social resources that can be leveraged by academic degrees are decreasing day by day, and for most subjects, the efficiency of learning knowledge through university study is even lower than that through internet learning in many cases. In this way, students spend high tuition fees and waste the few years when their creativity is at its peak in their lives just to memorize knowledge by rote. Is it worth it? This is undoubtedly a question worthy of our in-depth thinking. Especially in the AI era, the speed of knowledge update is extremely rapid, while the knowledge imparted by universities often lags behind the times. Many contents are even from 10 or 20 years ago. The lagging nature of university knowledge imparting is caused by the many problems mentioned above. To create a relatively free learning space for students, teachers may neglect teaching quality, which in turn leads to knowledge lagging. To solve the problem of knowledge lagging, it is necessary to increase the proportion of teaching quality in teachers' income or subject status, but this will make university management tend to be strict, exams more severe, which is not conducive to students' free exploration, especially in the current era when the internet is highly efficient and convenient. For teachers, it will also affect their scientific research progress, After all, one of the main tasks of universities is scientific research. For those academic bigwigs, if the proportion of teaching and research tasks in their subject status evaluation is too high, it is also not conducive to the cultivation of true academic talents. However, many subject contents can only be taught by academic bigwigs and cannot be taught by some subject experts similar to those in the basic education period. It can be seen that educational problems are interrelated, and it is not enough to simply solve the lagging nature of university education or the enthusiasm of teachers to solve all problems. The current educational pattern itself is the relatively optimal result after various compromises and struggles. In the AI era, the knowledge system must be continuously and rapidly updated. If the knowledge learned by people between the ages of 20 and 30 is completely useless when they enter the workplace, then it will be difficult to cultivate talents who can survive in the AI era. In addition, AI is constantly eliminating simple and repetitive jobs, and human growth often begins with the exercise of simple and repetitive jobs. If the basic jobs are completely replaced by AI, people will lose the starting step for upward progress, and may even lead to a technological gap. That is to say, when the efficiency of using AI far exceeds that of using new employees at a certain moment, we may neglect the cultivation of humans. To solve this problem, for example, forcing enterprises or governments to hire humans for relevant training may turn it into a charitable act. In the past, continuously recruiting new employees and conducting training was related to the survival of organizations. Now, if AI can replace new labor forces, then organizations' hiring and training of new employees are more for the sake of creating employment opportunities and making forward-looking investments in cultivating talents that AI is difficult to replace. But who can be sure of the number of talents cultivated and whether they will be quickly replaced by AI? If the speed of AI progress overall exceeds the speed of human cultivation, what kind of situation will occur? The current university education is neither able to cultivate talents who can cooperate with artificial intelligence, nor able to cultivate talents who can compete with artificial intelligence. Nowadays, most people are closely connected with the education system in the first 30 years of their lives. To some extent, the education system has shaped the initial characteristics of humans. However, some life creeds instilled by the education system can no longer meet the development needs of humans in the next stage. Whether it is turning skills into knowledge, making cooperation competitive, or having a fear of practice after first learning a large amount of preliminary knowledge and then putting it into practice, the most serious thing is that it has led to the alienation of people from themselves. Before entering school, people originally loved learning, but the content of learning was different. But school education often makes learning boring, dull, and painful. In these past few months, I have been trying to integrate all artificial intelligence into my own learning process. I deeply feel that this is actually a journey of struggling against those implicit creeds that I received in the education system in the first 20 years. Actually, learning should be closer to the experience of playing video games in my childhood, being focused and engaged, and taking immediate action when having an idea, rather than being limited to learning a large amount of prerequisite knowledge. In this rapidly changing AI era, our exploration of education should not stop. The dilemma of university education is like a mirror, reflecting the struggles and confusions of the education system in the wave of changes of the times. But this is also the opportunity for us to re-examine the essence of education. Education should not be the shackles that bind the soul, but the spark that ignites passion. It should not be the source that creates alienation, but the bridge that promotes self-awareness and growth. When we look back on the past educational path, we should not only see the lagging and deficiencies, but also think about how to find a balance between technology and humanity. Should we continue to wander in the traditional education model, or bravely blaze a new trail? Should we let the update of knowledge always fail to keep up with the pace of the times, or reshape the educational ecosystem with innovative thinking? Perhaps each of us should become a promoter of educational change. Let's break our inherent renji of education and regain that pure love for learning, just like when we explored the unknown world as children, fearless. Because the future of education not only concerns the fate of individuals, but also concerns whether the whole human race will ride the waves or be submerged by the times in the AI wave. Let's embark on this never-ending exploration journey with reverence and expectation for education, to pursue the light of education that can truly lead humans to the future. Honey, I'm going to watch the video again. Welcome to YouTube University.
Dear ones, haven't you followed me yet? Then I'll punish you by making you feel the unbearable weight of freedom in the music. Ha ha ha. Let the music play.
Watch this video, understand the issues that we face. In education change, see a new way to embrace. Re-examine our models under AI's embrace. Open a door to think about education's place. Welcome back, they're almost at the ends. It's true, educational problems, especially uni. In our view, unity plays a role, cultivating life so new. In the past, creating training, that's what it used to do. Watch this video, understand the issues that we face. In education change, see a new way to embrace. Re-examine our models under AI's embrace. Open the door to think about education's place. Education's place. Welcome back, dear Homo sapiens. It's true, educational problems, especially uni. In our view, unity plays a role, cultivating life so new. In the past, creating and training, that's what it used to do. Watch this video, understand the issues that we face. In education change, see a new way to embrace.